I'm Mark Troyer and I manage the EMEA Solutions Consulting team at LastPass. I'm based here in the Netherlands near the city of Utrecht. Thank you for joining us here on today's webinar. Over the next 25 to 30 minutes, I'll provide you with a high-level overview of the LastPass Managed Service Program, or MSP program. This session is designed for MSP business owners or managers that will be overseeing the launch of the LastPass product set to your customer base. The structure of this presentation focuses on identifying the top practical activities that you'll need to know to get started as a LastPass MSP. After watching this webinar, you should be able to organize your team to getting started. The agenda for this webinar is to discuss the top practical activities to get started as a LastPass MSP. This includes 4 areas that will help you win new customers and generate a repeatable revenue stream. First, I would like to take a few minutes to review the market opportunity for enterprise password management systems, focusing, of course, on LastPass. Next, I'll talk about the LastPass Partner Exchange online portal. This is where you go for product training, marketing materials, and getting technical support. I'll then explore the LastPass Msp Multi-Tenancy Interface. This is where we will see the top 3 functions to set up a pilot or a new customer. Once you win your first projects, you will need a roadmap to guide you through your first successful LastPass customer implementation. This includes not only the technical implementation, but also the art of inducing end-user adoption in your customer employee base. Finally, we will review the key resources that are available for you to support and build your LastPass business. This is a very high-level introduction to get you started with LastPass. As a manager of an MSP, it will provide you with all the initial steps to get you started. Let's start off by talking about the incremental opportunity that LastPass offers MSPs. Specifically, I'm talking about how to generate repeatable software subscription revenue, service revenue, and expand into new customers. According to the security analyst community, in this case Markets and Accenture, the identity and access management portion of the IT security market will grow to over $24 billion by 2025. What's the basis of this? Well, it starts with an estimated 300 billion passwords in use today around the world. Most of these are duplicates, short, easy to guess, and never changed. Business leaders around the world know that most human beings do not exercise proper password hygiene. Hence, they're trying to mitigate credential breaches. Today, we know that 80% of breaches are caused by reused, weak, or compromised passwords. This problem is your opportunity. It can be easily solved by an enterprise password management system such as LastPass. In the realm of IT security, Channel Futures did a study in 2020 looking at what services are offered by MSPs and which services generate the most revenue. What is striking is that the identity access and management area is one of the most popular and growing problem areas for MSPs. Enterprise password management for shadow IT is a key area where MSPs can offer additional profitable services to their existing customer base. So with the size and growth for the market for enterprise password management, where does an MSP get started? Our advice is to focus on early adopters. You'll be very happy to know that LastPass is the market leader with over 30 million registered users. Personally, I'm always amazed when we attend trade events. I meet crowds of LastPass users who have been using the product for over 5 years to keep their credentials secure. My advice is to seek out existing LastPass users in the IT organization of your customer base. Make them aware that LastPass offers a business version of the product. While they will often ask a lot of difficult technical questions, these early adopters will be your best evangelists for a large LastPass rollout. So with all of that background information about the enterprise password management market and the low-hanging market segments, how do you start a conversation with a LastPass business prospect? It's actually a relatively easy conversation to get started. This is a bit of a busy slide, but it is a goldmine for discussion points to find and quantify password pain. Let's take a few moments and talk about a few of these questions. It's always best and talk about the notion of shadow IT. In the context of LastPass, Shadow IT are the SaaS services the IT organization is not managing. These are not the company-endorsed applications, and they're not the applications integrated into the identity platform via single sign-on or SSO. So what are the Shadow IT applications? Well, let me give you a few examples. I recently spoke to a LastPass customer with a marketing team focused on social media communication. They currently have 5 social media accounts. These are used by their team for services such as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and a few others. They were using the same login, email address, and passwords on all of their social media accounts. The good news is that the password was random looking and it was changed every other week. Some of the employees were noting their most recent credentials on a post-it note next to their computer. Password changes were also communicated through the company using email and even sometimes instant messaging. You can start to imagine the potential social breach risks with this approach. Many organizations also have departments that use specialized SaaS applications. Examples are project management tools, simulators, graphic design tools, quiz applications, and the like. These are the applications with too few users to justify integrating with single sign-on. Sometimes monthly subscriptions are paid through expense reports, but more often these are freemium services that are actually unknown by the IT department. Without proper randomized passwords, the use of these shadow IT application places an organization at risk for a large-scale social breach. In your prospecting, these discussion points and pain questions are a great place to start. Look for your customers that may have early adopters already using LastPass, and ask questions that uncover security risk pain associated with shadow IT. You'll be surprised by how easy prospecting for enterprise password management solutions can be. Now that we have a strong idea of how to sell and position LastPass, let's shift gears and talk about where we can find resources to get our MSP team started. Before I jump into this, however, I would like to have a few words about LogMeIn, LastPass, and GoTo. As many of you know, in early February, we announced the rebranding of LogMeIn to GoTo. The new GoTo organization is all about helping people and businesses do their best work simply and securely from anywhere. From remote IT tools to secure communications and collaboration tools, GoTo can help you and your customers do their best work. At the same time, we have announced that LastPass will become its own standalone company and an independent cloud. Why do I mention all of this? It's mainly because of you. As a LastPass reseller, we will see some of our key portal domains and branding change over time. During 2020, you will see the Partner Exchange website change from a LogMeIn domain to a LastPass domain. You will also see other shared service websites change as well. Normally, there will be redirects or indicators showing you the path to the LastPass resources. In this video, there will be several references to website assets in the LogMeIn domain area that will change, of course, in 2022. Keeping all of this looming change and focus in mind, let's talk about where we can find resources to get your MSP team started. The Partner Exchange portal is a key resource for online training and marketing resources from LastPass. It is a critical resource when you are getting started selling enterprise password management solutions. It is also used as a priority support portal for our care organization. In this section, I will walk you through the key 3 resources found in the Partner Exchange portal. We will start with online training. You will learn a bit about how you and your employees can earn LastPass certification badges. We will then investigate the marketing resources and assets such as logos, product specification sheets, white papers, and campaigns. Finally, we will look at how you can log in and manage technical support tickets through this portal. The first question you may have is, where can I find this portal and how do I log into it? By now, someone in your MSP organization should have received an email from LastPass that provides login credentials for this portal. You can request credentials for additional employees in your team by contacting your LastPass regional partner manager. Normally, you will receive an email that looks similar to the following email. It includes a temporary initial password that can be used to log in for the first time. To log in, you will need to simply click on the Login Now blue text in the email, or simply redirect your web browser to partnerexchange.logmeininc.com. This should open up a web browser session to the main login page for Partner Exchange. Again, the web page is located at partnerexchange, that's one word, .logmeininc.com. The first time you log in, you will need to enter in your email address and the initial password provided to you in your email. You will then immediately be asked to change your password. If you have just installed LastPass on your device, be sure to save this credential as one of your initial credentials in your LastPass vault. I suggest also letting LastPass generate a long, random, stealthy password for the site. Finally, you'll be asked to accept some terms and conditions for the use of this portal site, and then you'll be directed to the main page of the portal. While there are a lot of resources available on this portal, I would like for you to direct your eyes to the header bar to the trio of marketing, training, and support links. I have highlighted these in red for your clarity. We will now talk about each of these, starting with training, and then marketing, and finally support. Currently, there are over 30 on-demand training modules in the Partner Exchange system focused on LastPass for sales, implementation, and support topics. These have been organized into collections of trainings where one can receive a LastPass certification badge. Today, there are 3 certification badge types: a LastPass Sharp Seller badge, a LastPass Implementation Specialist badge, and finally, a LastPass Support Specialist badge. I would recommend starting all of your MSP team on the LastPass Sharp Seller badge. This stream consists of 5 courses totaling about 90 minutes of on-demand content that can be reviewed in multiple sessions. The content in this badge reviews the features of LastPass as well as their value proposition and benefits. It then looks at the competitive market for enterprise password management. There's also a section focusing on how to do a proper qualification and discovery for LastPass. Finally, this badge provides an overview of the Lastpass Msp capabilities. For those more technical people that will be helping your customers implement LastPass, they should consider getting the LastPass Implementation Specialist badge. This course starts by focusing on how LastPass is packaged. It then walks through the basics of LastPass and finally investigates how the LastPass experience can be customized by your clients. Finally, there will be certain individuals in your MSP organization who will need to provide first-line support. The LastPass Support Specialist badge prepares one to efficiently and knowledgeably provide support. It focuses on where to find support resources and how to troubleshoot common problems. These 3 badge certifications will prepare your MSP team to be able to sell, implement, and support the LastPass product. So we now know how to train our team on selling, implementing, and supporting LastPass. Let's talk about LastPass marketing content. The Partner Exchange portal contains everything that you need to introduce LastPass to your customer base. This includes a wide variety of guides and overview documents, as well as spec sheets and case studies. These are the typical assets that you will need during the pre-sales process with your existing customers or new prospects. Additionally, the document library includes image assets that you may want to add to your website. Please note that many of these documents are also available in French, German, and Spanish. A large number of the documents are also brandable so that you can add your LastPass information and branding to the document. Of course, it is likely that you and your customers will have technical support questions as you implement and deploy LastPass. The Partner Exchange portal contains links to 2 key resources that will make your job easier. To start, there are references to the online help and search bot for LastPass that can be found at lastpass.com/support. This is a conversational artificial intelligence portal where you can ask questions directly receiving an intelligent automated response. Live web chat with a LastPass care representative is also available if the bot cannot answer your question. At this point, let's talk about the actual LastPass MSP interface, focusing on the top 3 things you need to know. This includes adding a managed company, role-based access, and LastPass policies. I would recommend getting acquainted with these 3 functions early in your LastPass onboarding journey. The best place to get started is to have a thorough read of the LastPass MSP implementation guide. This is a 6-page PDF document that explains how to set up, configure, and manage your MSP account. It also provides lots of pointers to step-by-step setup instructions. Before discussing these 3 functional areas, let's review how to log in. Logging into the LastPass MSP interface is basically the same as simply logging into LastPass. This can be done directly at lastpass.com or through the LastPass browser extension on your PC or Macintosh. Once you log in, go to your password vault. On the left-hand side of the interface, you will find several menu options, including admin controls. Clicking on this option will open up the MSP Admin Console interface. Please note that there is a new version of the MSP Admin Console interface currently under development. You'll see references to this in the menu. In this webinar, we will not be covering this new interface. We will be focusing on the currently available interface. From here, you will find options such as Manage Companies, Settings, and Advanced Options. These are the multi-tenancy interfaces where you can manage your LastPass customer accounts. Let's suppose that you have an existing customer that would like to run a LastPass pilot with some early adopters. To provision an account with this customer, you will need to add a managed company. In the Manage Company section of the Admin Console, you will find a dashboard showing you all of the LastPass customer accounts. You will also see some important global stats. You'll also find some critical details such as active users, security scores, and available licenses for the accounts. To add a new LastPass account, you simply need to click on the red Add Managed Account button. From here, you will enter in the managed company name and the number of initial licenses to allocate. Note that all of these allocated licenses are billed on a monthly basis to you as the MSP. While I will not be covering the billing management in this webinar, information on this can be found in the LastPass MSP implementation guide. The second of the 3 areas in the MSP interface that I will cover are role definitions. Simply stated, roles provide the super administrator an efficient way to control access to your MSP technicians. This is done through the creation of adding new role profiles to the default definitions of LastPass, which are users and administrators. Granular access can be defined as needed to match the size and profile of your MSP operations, depending upon how you organize your operations and your account management. LastPass policies are the final trio of must-know features in the LastPass MSP interface. For example, by default, LastPass is accessible from anywhere, but your customer may want to restrict access to a set of work-related IP addresses. In other words, employees need to be physically in the office or on the company VPN to access their LastPass vault. You may also want to restrict a certain set or subset of employees, but let another set to have complete free access. These can be controlled by LastPass policies. At the MSP level, a good default template of policy settings for all new customer accounts can be defined and customized. Further customizations of policies can then be subsequently done at a customer level. As with role-based access settings, it's worth getting familiar with the 100-odd policy options early on your onboarding as a LastPass MSP. Okay, let's assume that we've geared your team up to prospect, qualify, and win new large LastPass opportunities. What are the typical steps to implement LastPass in your customer's environment? What's the typical timeline? What are the key resources that you'll need to deploy to see a successful implementation? We will answer all of these questions in this part of the webinar. This all starts with a game plan or a LastPass deployment project plan. We normally see this take place in 6 discrete steps, taking between 5 to 10 weeks. The first 3 steps are the meat of the technical implementation. This includes all the critical initial project kickoff steps, followed by the technical setup and the details of administration. The next two steps are on end user adoption. In my mind, these are the most important two steps that will determine the long-term profitability of your LastPass business. A lot of attention needs to be spent persuading the customer's end user base to the importance of password hygiene for both personal and employment-related credentials. Our recommendation is that this be treated like a 6-week marketing campaign executed before, during, and after the LastPass launch. Finally, there should be some responsibility set to measure, track, and actuate success metrics for usage. During and after the launch campaign, it is important to determine what communication messaging results in true usage. At this point, I'd like to spend a few moments on some of the implementation aspects that have not been discussed. This includes some points on browser extensions and mobile software deployment. It also talks about training and some of the interesting security awareness video content related to password hygiene. One of the first things that you'll want to ensure is that there is as little end user startup friction as possible. This starts with the pre-installation of the browser extension software for Windows PCs and Macs. Under the Settings/Install Software menu option, there are detailed instructions on how to set this up for the target browser standard, whether that be Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or perhaps Safari. It is also possible to have our iOS and Android LastPass applications auto-installed via Microsoft Intune as part of your mobile application management system. Of course, pre-deploying the LastPass client software is not strictly speaking required, and it can be done manually from the LastPass.com site by end users. It is highly recommended, however, to pre-deploy these applications if you're already familiar with these standard deployment tools. Let's talk a little bit about training, and by training, I mean training for both your customers' administrators and their end users. LastPass offers video training content through a couple of different portals. First, there is a lot of content available on the LastPass YouTube channel. For end users, look for the LastPass 101 playlist. We also have our Embark environment, which offers more structured training. This content can be found at embark.logmeinc.com. This is the web content portal maintained by our customer success organization that is available to you and your customers. Before we finish on the topic of implementing a new LastPass customer, I would like to spend a few minutes talking about the communication strategy for launching LastPass into your customers and users. If done right, this will determine the long-term profitability of your LastPass business. There are several key elements that should be included in your communication strategy. First, you really need to ensure that there is an executive in your customer's organization that is sponsoring the importance of password hygiene. It's also critical that you identify a set of early adopters in your customer account. These will be the personalities that get the word out about LastPass and the importance of password hygiene. While it's conceivable that using LastPass can be mandated, it's hard to enforce password manager application usage in practice. It's better to stay positive and gamify usage metrics with contests intermixed with security awareness content. Depending upon how your customers and users are used to getting customer information, LastPass offers a wide variety of email, internet web page, and security awareness video content that you can use to simplify the launch. Finally, it's critical that your executive sponsor assign someone in the organization to monitor the success metrics. This may start with metrics related to users logging into LastPass for the first time and then creating their first vault item and the like. No two implementations are ever the same, and in this final project phase, measures will be needed to ensure high levels of LastPass user adoption. Recently, the LastPass team has created a set of 11 one-minute videos that can be used as part of your customer's LastPass launch and their information security awareness training. These videos have been organized in 4 areas that are to be used before, during, and after your LastPass launch. While this content is available on our YouTube channel, the video files are also available in MP4 format if you need to self-host. And with that wraps up our brief discussion on successfully deploying LastPass. I hope that the 6 deployment steps that are needed to implement LastPass are part of your project management plans after selling LastPass. Before we end today's webinar, I would like to take a final moment to summarize where you can find information to get started with LastPass. The best place to start is to download the 6-page Lastpass Msp implementation guide. This is actually a very well-written document with links to the detailed instructions to get your MSP business set up with LastPass. In my mind, it is the first place to start. In the event that you cannot download this document, perhaps you're on a mobile device, you can also find the document in the Partner Exchange portal. Finally, if you need further assistance in getting your MSP environment set up or help with a customer opportunity, please contact your regional partner manager at LastPass. They would be more than willing to help you get started. And that brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you for attending, and we wish you good fortune in getting your LastPass MSP business set up and thriving. I'm Mark Troyer, and this is the end of the presentation part of this webinar.